Can you the name again?
Yisrael Dov Ben Meir.
Ben Meir. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna. Yeah. Let's have a Leilun Nishmato. Bezrat Hashem Yofi. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Ay ay ani Ledodi Vedodi li. 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 Ay, Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Shekar. L'chaim tov v'shalom. Baruch atah. We're also learning right now Yehudit Bat Sarah. It's going through a very, very important procedure right now. Be'ez Hashem, everything should go b'shalom and come out b'shalom and only good news to the whole family. With Hashem, to really have it in depths of our hearts, depths of our minds. Some of the chevra I know that usually learn with us are actually at the hospital now with Brent. So, Baruch Hashem, this is how we go in. This is how we go to battle. Kacha, ke'ish echad b'leiv echad. Okay. We're in the middle. We're on the second page of Perek Dalet. It's Daf Chav Gimel on your pages. The second page in the fourth chapter. You have the Sefer, yeah? Yeah, Chav Gimel. Okay. So, we were speaking about this last time. Be'ez Hashem, we're going to see if we can finish the whole thing today. This beautiful mimer. We were speaking last time about the concept of a person that feels that he's uprooted, he's disconnected, he doesn't have anything holding him to be in tune with the Rahmanut that Hashem has on him. And we don't even understand how big Hashem's Rahman is. We have no concept of it. Whatever we think of the Ribbon Shalom, I was having a talk with someone yesterday about holy things, but even like in the context of holy things, how we can make God seem so small by speaking about, if I don't get to do this, then the whole shefa is locked. Then the whole shefa of Rahmanas in my life will probably be locked. No. Slicha, are we Hashem? Do we have any idea how Hashem wants to bring down the shefa, other than relating to him as a kel, midas rachum becham? This is what we have to work with right now in Elul. Midas rachmim, kel, the midah of rachamim, rachmanut. So, we have to now understand, what does a person do when be'emet they don't feel anything, nothing is awakening them. However, en yehush ba'olam klal, and we have to do this in the context of the end of Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. How does it continue? Boker tov. How does it continue? So this is what we're going to focus on today. Ani Ledodi Vedodi li. Haro'eh b'shoshanim. Now we're going to get to the end of this pasuk, and this is very important. So the bottom paragraph on Chav Gimel on top, okay? Ve'im gam bezot lo yit'oreh bo midat rachmanut anal on Chav Gimel, you see? Ve'im gam bezot lo yit'oreh bo midat rachmanut anal hine zot ha'etzah yiutza. What's the etzah for a person that's basically he's not feeling it. There's nothing. It's not happening. The flow is not happening. There's no midah, the Rahmanut of Hashem, the love of it, the endless love, all these things we're talking about, that's not part of the parsha. What does a person like that do? Ha'etza ha'ye'utza. The advice is, Dehine ksiv haro'eh b'shoshanim, the one who shepherds in the shoshanim, the roses. Ani ledodi vedodi li haro'eh b'shoshanim. Haro'eh with ayin. Shepherds in shoshanim. Shoshanim are roses. Anyone ever think about that? What in the world does that mean? I am to my beloved is to me, that shepherds me through roses?
The thorns of the roses.
Odlo. Okay, what's a Shoshana?
It's a rose.
Right, it's not a thorn.
Right, but the thorns, in order to get to the rose, you have to go through the thorns.
You're giving a Evanti.
That's a ver.
Huh?
Ver is the same thing?
No, Shoshan is a rose. Ver is a different kind of.
Yeah.
That's the modern.
נכון. דהינה כסיב הרואה בשושנים, פירוש בזוהר, the Zohar HaKadosh says, what is it about a rose, a shoshan? מה שושנה יסהפך מגוון צומק לגוון חיוור על ידי אשה. A rose changes its color from red to white through fire. What does that mean? Look at the Pirush, right there on Chaf Daled. The Pirush is key over here. Key. והנה אם גם לאחרי ההתבוננות הזאת אינו מרגיש כלום בליבו. My heart's empty. I've been doing all the work, my heart's still empty. ובמילא אינו יכול לבקש רחמי שמיים, and I don't have this place where I feel strong enough to, or even connected enough to ask Hashem to just have Rahmanis on me. שהרי על כל פנים, but you know why? Because הבקשה לרחמי שמיים צריכה להיות באמת ובלב שלם, in order to ask Hashem for rachamei shamayim, for compassion, for infinite compassion and love and mercy. It has to be done with a full heart, but what's the problem? ואילו הוא נמצא בדרגה נמוכה כזאת שאינו מרגיש שום מרירות בליבו, על כך שאינו מרגיש הרחמנות. The guy, remember we were talking about the guy last week, the other day? This is a person that feels nothing in his, he wishes he felt guilty. He doesn't even feel guilty about not feeling far, but he's at least admitting, I don't even feel guilty that I'm not feeling far. I wish I did, but I don't. So you have to finish the sentence from Shlomo HaMelech, אני לדודי ודודי לי, הרואה בשושנים, מפרש בזוהר, מה שושנה התהפך מגוון צומק לגוון חיוור על ידי אשה. השושנה מתהפכת מצבע אדום לצבע לבן על ידי אש. The rose transforms from the color red to the white color through fire. Does anyone know yet what he's talking about?
No clue.
Huh?
Is that true?
Oh, you're asking if it's true.
Is that how white rose becomes white?
The sun. I think the sun.
I mean, the sun, obviously.
We're gonna right. But remember, klal one is always, I take his word for it. Meaning that's always klal one. Come fast. Come on, a lot to do. Come here. Yehudit bat Sarah. Is it true? Yeah, it's true. How? We're gonna figure out how it's true. You understand? That's how we learn the Torah of the tzaddikim. What they say is true, and it's on us to figure out how they say it. So, back up and we'll just stay on the bottom over here. It's the Alter Rebbe's words in the bold text. Kach hine ksiv. So too it's written like this. Im yiyu chataichem kashanim kasheleg yalbinu. That's a beautiful pasuk we say in Tehillim, right? Sha'achet nikra adom. A sin. Why is a sin called adom? Because what took you to do the sin was probably some fire, right? וכן כל המעשים והדיבורים והמחשבות שבכל ענייני העולם נקראים גם כן אדום, לפי שהן המחשבות היצר ותחבולותיו. Put the color on the imagery of the Yetzer Hara. What color does he get? Red. Fire, burning. יתהפך לגוון חיוור. It flips over to chiver. Usually means like when you're about to faint, you look pale, but it means like white, like clean. Shu bechinas kasheleg yalbinu. You becomes like snow. Your chataim will turn into snow. That's real tshuva. That your actual averas, your Yetzer Hara, that was red, with the real tshuva me'ahava. It's not just that it's not red; it's that it becomes white. Is that it becomes clean like snow.
It's not a concept like that on Yom Kippur with the air.
This is from Yom Kippur. This is exactly from Yom Kippur. Al yedei bechinas eish, through the aspect of fire. Now look, he's going to stay in the Pirush over here. Va'inyan. ההפיכה מצבע אדום לצבע לבן עניין ההפיכה סחתיים והמעשים אשר לא להשם המה לטוב. Changing of the color from red to white. Its whole inyan is taking the things that were for Hashem, taking our actions and thoughts that weren't for Hashem, which somehow fall into the category of the color red. כעניין שנאמר, אם יהיו חטאיהם כשנים, כשלג ילבינו, ההפיכה זו היא על ידי העבודה דאש, המזכך ומתאר אס האדם, the way to transform these inyanim, these matters in life that are kind of like blah, I don't feel anything, blah, it's just like blah. So it's not enough to just stop doing them. You must have fire in your approach, when you approach to do the tshuva. This reminds me of a very important Torah in Likutei Moharan, where Rabbi Nachman speaks about the concept of koshering the utensils of Midian. Kol davar asher yavo ba'esh ta'aviru ba'esh. That's the halachas of libun. What's libun? How do you say, what's the proper word for libun in English? Koshering? No, it's a form of koshering. Huh?
Purging?
Is it? I don't know.
Turning white? I guess whitening.
Whitening?
I mean, that's what happens when you turn fire, right? When you think about when you put like a coal.
Right?
It turns red and then it turns white.
Yafeh. So he says over here like this. This is an interesting thing. I think he's talking to the person that thinks it's just going to show, like that feeling is just going to show up. Right? I stopped doing the averas, I stopped doing the bad machshavas, and then it's just going to click for me. And the Alter Rebbe and Rabbi Nachman are saying the same thing in this concept. They're saying lo kacha, ma pitom. When we do tshuva, it has to be through what? Fire. Haro'eh b'shoshanim, shoshana. Why dafka shoshanim? Just like a shoshana, its color red changes to white through fire. So too the passion that wasn't to Hashem. All the stuff we did that wasn't for Hashem. That had a red, boily vibe to it, right? What do we do with that? The only way to get that to white, to be like clean, is esh, is through fire.
According to Google,
Yeah.
it's true. Hot water makes it white. Hot weather, excuse me.
Makes what?
The rose white. So,
Now we could be Simons on the Alter Rebbe. It's like Google kashed out loud. V'hinei. Yesh esh lemala. Okay, so what fire are we talking about? That could change what the matzav over here if a person doesn't feel anything. And this should be a bracha for all of us. V'hinei yesh esh lemala v'yesh esh lemata. There's fire from above, fire from below. We're not talking now about like fire, holy fire. What kind of fire are we talking about? Ouch. V'hinei yesh esh shelemala v'yesh esh shelemata. Remember, we're learning Shabbos afternoon shir. Ksheyesh din lemata, ein din lemala. That if I'm going to go through the dinim, din Elul, and I'm going to do my serious accounting during Elul, and I'm really not too scared about the concept of din, because I'm going to bring the din on myself, not that I'm going to judge myself harshly, but that I'm going to be honest with my accounting of where I was and where I am now. Ein din lemala, it says in Chazal. Ksheyesh din lemata, ein din lemala. It's an important thing to think about all year long, but specifically during the month of Elul. So there's a concept of fire from above, fire from below. Ve'esh shelemala lo kol adam zocheh lezeh. Not everyone merits fire from above. What does that mean? We'll see in a second. Ach esh shelemata, what's the fire from below? Hu inyan sigufim v'ta'aniyot lema'et chelbo v'damo shehem misitra deklipa denoga. The concept of fire down below over here means going through fire down here means literally sigufim. That means afflictions. V'ta'aniyot. And fasts in order to lema'et chelbo. To minimize your fats, I guess. Because they're from Sitra de Klipa de Noga. All these things that are like from the place of Noga, which could go either way, right? So when I go through the din down here and I take upon myself more and more of like, refraining from things, literally, for some people that could be Eish. For some people to go to a Kiddush and not because they're alcoholics, but dafka not have a drink, l'shem not having a drink, or like remember what the Piasetzner told us? What would be the equivalent of this? He said, drinking a cup of coffee and not putting in sugar. Dafka. Not because you're a whole health freak or everything, but dafka not doing that. Now for people that don't put sugar in their coffee already, it's not ish. That's not an Indian. Because I don't do it anyway. It's the things I'm doing anyway that are not against halacha, like eating. But the things that I know that within the framework of that, to dafka not eat. Like I told you guys, Rebbe Yitzchak Bender, Schlissi Hagan Aleinu, the tzaddik of the last generation of Breslev, never ever finished his plate of food. I think we said it in Shir a few weeks ago. Ever. It was an Inyan, you always leave something. So of course the person raised their hand in Shir and said, what about Baal Tashchis, right? Beseder. Alavai, that should be the...
This week's Parsha. He says the same thing about Porei Rosh Hashanah. He says the same thing about this week's Parsha.
Who does? Who says?
Nebenzahl.
Rav Nebenzahl, yeah?
He says the same thing about the things that are within halacha that we kind of, slowly allow us into our mind and get into our thing.
Right.
Those are the things that we have to be most careful about.
More than shreifus, 100%. Because they're ke'ilu mutar.
Right.
Nachon. Ve'az, and then when I do this, Ya'er Hashem panav. See, remember that's how we began this. In Perek Beis, we said, for Hashem to illuminate His pnimius of what He wants from you in this world, Eish has to be part of your avodat Hashem. Fire. Now, there could be fire means going through a fiery thing in my life for Hashem. For some people, it literally means waking up 10 minutes earlier. It's different in every single area for every person. Let's read the Perush here. Inyan ha'avoda de'esh, the concept of avoda de'esh regarding what the Alter Rebbe is saying, hu yesurim hamemarkim es nefesh ha'adam, is regarding the pain and affliction which kind of like purify the soul of man. And Be'ez Hashem right now we're davening for the refuah of Yehudit Bat Sarah. There should be no pain, there should be no affliction. There should only be good news and bri'ut tova for her and for all the cholim and the cholos in Am Yisrael. Achine amru chazal sheyesh eish shelemala v'yesh eish shelemata. There's a fire from above and there's a fire from below. There are afflictions which come from above and they come to refine person, to purify man. But not every person merits this. He calls it a merit. Of course. That's he says. He says that's it. It comes from above. He says the pnimius of it, you have to see it as a zechiyah, as a merit. Because you're going through it now, taking care of business.
I don't know the Rebbe's name, but it was like on YouTube he said this thing that if we only knew what the suffering did for us, we'd be begging for more. It's very hard, you can't share that with other people.
Or you can't tell someone else, by the way, you should see this as a zechiyah,
yeah,
right?
and then you can't say like, oh, by the way, about your suffering. Like,
Yeah.
Be careful.
I was like,
Sounds a little Christian.
What?
Sounds a little Christian. You gotta be careful.
No, what he's saying is that if you, it does, I don't know.
It's a it's got, it's true, but it's your own, it has to be an internal mahalach that has only to do with how you're choosing to deal.
Ben said the Zohar says that.
What's that?
I don't know. Ben's listening to the show.
Oh, Ben's on shir.
Said the Zohar says that.
There you go. It's okay now. It's okay. Forget, he's going to bring a pasuk now, proving this. Kmo shenemar, and Shlomo HaMelech says it. Ki es asher yoav Hashem yochiach. Those that Hashem love, He admonishes, meaning he'll put them through something, because when you go through it down here, listen, when a person goes through busha down here, it's taking off from them. Listen, I had a big zechiyah last Sukkot. Did I tell you this story? Who was Israel was with me? Huh? Ref Torah Reish Vav. It's a famous teaching, Likutei Maharan, a very good one about that. When a person goes through busha. Last year on Sukkot, I had by far one of the most humiliating moments of my life. With that, and it wasn't even hands down. Israel was there to witness it. It was Chol HaMoed Sukkos. It was a concert I really, really knew I shouldn't take, and by the pressure of a few friends, not him, other friends, they said, no, there's an opportunity here. You go, it's a massive thing. It was 3,000 people, Binyanei Ha'omah. You can go and do your thing there. You have to look at it like that. But they didn't tell me that it was mainly for Bachrim that are coming off of a 2-day Yantiv. The guys walked in toasted. Okay? Gone. I don't know. None of you were there, right? You were there? No. They were chucking things at the guy on stage before me, right? Ooh. So I turned to the producers. I said, I'm not going out there. This is crazy. So I was like, no, when you go up, it's going to stop. They know you, right? Right? So I go up. I'm singing Everlasting Love. I get these things thrown at me. kids pounding the shomrim, these sweet guards that are trying to do seder, while they're throwing things at the stage, screaming, and even though it wasn't the rov, it was such a busha. And I just looked at the crowd and I pulled out my plug and I walked off stage in the middle of the song, being Neuma, 3,000 people. And as I was leaving, someone ran up to me. He's like, Shlomo, tani bracha achshav. I said, why? He's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did that.
He said, give me a bracha right now. He wouldn't leave me. Do you remember? Right before we left, ran after me.
Yeah, I've done that.
And he put the whole thing into context. It made me sad about the Metzius, but I didn't leave depressed. I left sad. But I also felt, in a weird way, a zechia, because how many people get to be humiliated in front of 3,000 people? So you get the good, you get the good stuff, and then you get the other stuff too sometimes.
It's only if you react in the way that you did that you get this, that you actually see it.
Trust me, Pinchas was about to, the Cohen in me was about to, I was about to erupt in there.
But you didn't.
Because I was looking, listen, kids started charging the stage, and then I had my friend Naftali, he came and bounced them. Even Yisrael jumped on the stage, we didn't have 3,000 people, is trying to prevent them from charging me. That was your moment, Achi. That was your coming out moment. I couldn't believe it. You jumped on the stage too. I remember now. Naftali actually jumped on the stage and threw the guys off.
There's a video. Do we get this?
You know what's amazing? So there is streaming it, right? And there was a video. And then the next day I said, I gotta see what happened, right? What did they do? Because they edited out exactly that piece and then continued the show. Benny Friedman was on right afterwards, and Oad Moskowitz, and Oad heard what happened, so he came rushing to me and said, I'm like, listen, you don't want to go out there, right? Now, so Oad's, he's Malchus. I don't know if you know him. He really is, he has a bechina of Malchus then. He's also a really, really nice person, mamash. A sweet, sweet guy with a beautiful voice. And no one went up until they basically, from what I was told, they just got up on stage for 10, 15 minutes until either the drunk chevra left. I don't know what happened, whatever it was. But it's a chiyah. You have to have a schus to see it as a chiyah. Even to see it as a chiyah is a schus. It doesn't come so easy. But basically, there has to be some kind of going through something down here in order for Ya'er Hashem panav elecha vichuneka, which we explained, Ya'er Hashem panav, Hashem will leha'ir, the schus of your great-grandfather, Meir. It will leha'ir, the pnimius, Ya'er Hashem panav. It's changed my Birkas Kohanim, this Maimer. Mamish. This has changed my duchening. Whenever I say now, Ya'er Hashem panav elech, also my benching my children Friday night, Ya'er Hashem panav. Hashem will illuminate His pnimius into you, and it'll be clear to you what Hashem wants of you. The Alter Rebbe is saying that's a process of tshuva that happens during Elul that can only happen through this inyan of Ish. Now, Rabbi Nachman, we started off saying Rabbi Nachman says the same thing. He says the same thing begadol, but on the cloud, not as a prat, because Rabbi Nachman is saying over there, he says, just like when you sinned and you ended up doing that thing you knew you shouldn't do, it had to be through the midah of red, of fire, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it. Like when you're struggling with something and you finally give into it, it's not like, oh, I'm struggling with something. Maybe now I'll do that Aveira. Yeah, maybe I'll do that now. It's, right? And then you go for it. So Rabbi Nachman says, that's what you use to do the Avera and Baya. Kol davar she'yavor ba'esh, now you're kashering it, ta'aviru ba'esh. When we go to put on tefillin, and you're saying V'astichli le'olam, you're saying it, Ribbono shel olam, V'astichli le'olam. When you're saying a shehako, it's fire. Everything's got to be fire, that kind of fire. So first of all, we should all be zocheh that whenever we go through hard things, we should always see it as a zechiyah, as chus. And that's just like Aleph, Haro'eh b'shoshanim. Now, let's go weiter per Chamishi. Yeah.
Is it the same fire that would cause you for an Avera that you're using instead now for a mitzvah?
In Rabbi Nachman, yes, not here. The way we have, Rabbi Nachman says yes. Pashas Mat, a Perish and Pashas Matas, regarding Hagalas Kelen. Regarding Libun, yeah. Rabbi Nachman says, yeah, that same, yeah. You should look at Reb Chaim Kramer's Perish on that Torah. It's amazing. And it's a big avoda. That same fire that you use. Listen, the Gemara says, person has the yetzer to be a killer. What should he be? A shoch, meaning, it's not, Rabbi Nachman's taking from the Tanaim, the Amoraim, everything that happened. A person has a yetzer, I don't know, a person has a yetzer that, obviously the obvious ones we don't want to talk about right now, but I'm saying, what's another yetzer that you could say, use that fire and do it over there? Come on, what? Now no one can think about Yetzer Hara. It's amazing. Everyone's now, I can't think of a Yetzer Hara.
A ganav could do tzedakah.
A ganav could do tzedakah, right. Lo chaser.
Okay.
Lo chaser. So Rabbi Nachman says, yeah. Here the Alter Rebbe is saying, there's got to be fire involved. It's either going to happen from something being, you get smacked from fire from above, or you take on whatever it is that for you, that would have to be like a fiery avoda. Okay, so maybe they are meeting at some point, Rabbi Nachman and the Alter Rebbe in this thing, and they are. Just by Rabbi Nachman, it's like the same fire that you used for the Avera, you do for the mitzvah. I think that's what you're mechavening to. It's a little bit different. Eish is the, but that's the Hareba Shoshanim.
Baltan is saying he's saying more like that. It's not about channeling your, like the Eish to Eish. It's more saying is that you have to understand that the Eish that, that came from above, it's better that it comes from below that you accept it as opposed to.
I think that's good. Right?
That's the distinction.
Ki ksheyesh din lemata ein din lemala. Yeah, and that's what that person reminded me when he ran up to me to get a bracha. Like Mamash, he saved my sukkahs. And also he changed. I was able to also, like Baruch Hashem, turn down every type of gig like that since then. It's like, okay, I needed to. Yeah. It was good. The next night, I remember, I couldn't believe it. I was in, where were we? The next night. No, the next night after, at a different... No. The next night, I was in another place where a bunch of those guys were there. Or Sameach, right? I was right. And some guys were like, they were like, as if I remember who it is. It's 3,000 people, right? So some guys were kind of, Baruch Hashem, yeah.
I want to try to focus myself on what you're saying. I'm not sure what was inside and what was outside, but it's related to, I was learning last night on a podcast with Rabbi Katz. Familiar?
Yeah. Rabbi Akiva Katz?
So sure. So he, interesting
right.
enough, the one that I'm listening to is really exactly on this topic, the purpose of tests, basically. And you said earlier, because we were talking about this, the whole topic here was the person who feels nothing. And maybe on that person, it's not coming from above because he feels nothing. So how does he generate his fire?
Right.
And then you like gave an example, you had to restrain from something. And I don't know if that was inside or outside. You
inside.
Said that was inside.
Yeah.
So what it made me think of, and one of the things that Rabbi Katz shared, was that when you go back to Bereshit and you think about what the challenge was, it was a restraint. The first thing was a don't do. It wasn't a do something. It was a don't do. And that's where, and they failed at that.
Right.
But it made me go back to that and think that, he's suggesting that when you feel nothing, you can start to generate that, not by doing something, because you don't feel like you want to do anything. So the way to get it going is to refrain from something, and that's going to spark it.
I think so. I think that's very good what you're saying, because you're not going to start to do something. You're going to stop to do something, which is going to cause you to start doing something. Brenner, that's one of the best things I ever heard you say right now, Bemet. And you say a lot of good things, but that's actually an amazing deal. Do you hear what he said? Sometimes to take on is impossible, because I don't feel a thing. But if I choose to take off something, that'll open the gate for me to start to take on. That's so
Why?
deep.
Because you're letting.
What's the mechanism?
You feel the load is empty. The load
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, let's say
Yeah.
you're being too intense with something that you're gonna like burn out. You're saying so keep off.
Well, I'm just saying, if you feel like nothing, then you don't feel like doing anything. So how do you get it going? How do you get yourself started? And I think he's suggesting that to get yourself started is to refrain from something, and that's going to get you going. And that goes back to where Adam and Chava failed, because they failed to refrain. They didn't fail from doing something; they failed from refraining. So if we go back to the way we're made and the way we need to get things started,
It's on back in the modern, but in the English version.
Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter?
Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter says that when you're going through a hard time, he goes, "Don't push, just act simple, just read the words."
So here he's saying a little bit different. He's saying when you're going through something tough and you're not feeling the ability to call out to Hashem. So I think what he's saying is, it's not going to happen by waiting for the moment of when you feel it.
Yeah.
But go to the other area of like, what do I have to stop doing? What can something I could stop doing? And that'll open the gate for eventually then starting to do something. But there's someone...
Stop doing is stopping something that you're doing negative, or stopping something that
It's
you're
just
doing.
Not
an example of
necessarily- this is the Indian.
Don't put sugar in your coffee. Don't have that drink. Don't.
Not necessarily negative. And Avera, you always have to stop doing. That's not Elul. That's not, that's not the... It's more of, you know what? I could remove the sugar from the coffee. I could remove lo dama.
And that would give us.
So Brenner's saying somehow, yeah. I mean, Brenner's mechavening to how he's saying over here. That kind of because that, you know what that is? That's fire. That's a different type of fire. We're waiting for fire of feeling something, right? He's saying it's not happening. So use the fire in a way where it's more like, okay, I'm going to take the fiery, take passion to refrain from something.
It kind of explains the whole, maybe the secret sauce of the whole 12-step thing when people get into that. And you see that all of a sudden when people start refraining, all of a sudden brachas come raining down.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
Interesting.
But I don't know where that comes from. It's not just a simple thing of whatever. It's not, oh, I stopped doing this and now I'm more efficient or I'm more, it's not, it's something.
I think you actually make space. He's pressured. You're making space.
Stuff comes down and then all of a sudden miracles start.
Listen, stuff is always coming down, but we don't have space. To believe in that, so tzaddikim say, the shefa, today's Chaf Hey, right? Today's Yom Bria Sa'olam by Hibor. The shefa always comes down. The problem is we're clogged. I'll give you guys a gruesome example, if it's okay. It's a good mashal. When we were up in the north, in the Golan, we did a lot of water stuff. It was just the best. I was telling you, like, it wasn't enough time this year, the way it worked out with this man. It was so good, it was so healthy. A lot of water stuff. And I got in the middle of the trip, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting dizzy, I'm losing my balance, I was in such pain, this whole area. Of course, loads of water got in here, okay? And I couldn't, I took, what do you call it? I took antibiotic. There was tipot also. Nothing's working. The drive down was torture because it's such a non-stop headache, and you're losing your balance. Your what do you call it? Your equilibrium. So I went to go see Chaim, Dr. Yudelman, Dr. J, and he says to me, you got to go see Af Ozen Garon, ear, nose, and throat doctor. That day, Baruch Hashem, I found a guy named George, intense-looking guy named George in Malcha Mall, Muchedet. I go like this, he's like, Tisher kacha. He takes a, and he drains out Arbaim Sel, right? It's stuck in there, right? With other chevra hanging out in there, right? And he's like, now you know why all these tipot. Because I was spritzing the thingy. I was going through all these, and he said, and it was like such a clear thing. I was like, oh, all the good stuff, the tipot, all these good things couldn't get in because it was clogged. I know it's a little bit of a gruesome thing, but I think what he's saying, and connecting to what you're saying, Brenner, is that Hashem's love comes down all the time. The shefa is always there. The problem is that there's no space for God to come in. There's no space. En makom. So this is an ikaron that must happen. The way to make space, the way to change the red to white is through the act of red, through Eish, through fire. What kind of fire? The fire that he's talking about is making space. How? Giving up something. Stopping something.
Last year, one of the avodas that I think we were trying to work on, and I know it was the idea of not bringing a phone into the
Bedroom.
Oof. And
Not a phone.
I don't know how well.
Pocket computer.
All right. I don't know how well it went over with everyone, but to me, that's like, it's this 101. In other words, that's the space you need. That when you say Moda'ani, you're not right over there.
Oh boy. Or when you have to go to the bathroom middle of the night, you don't check anything. You actually let your mind stay, right? Stay off. Jerry's good. Listen,
Four a.m.
It all depends on who's playing the game.
Jerry, listen. It's Wednesday. Rosh Hashanah Sunday night. Take it on right now. You're not bringing your phone into your bedroom for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year?
It's 4 days.
Oh, no.
5
Oh, no.
or year. What is it? 2022 or Tafshin Pei Beis? What is it? Yossi's like,
Great avoda.
Yossi's like,
Great
not a
avoda.
chance.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Set him up for that.
That's it. He's the reverse psychology 101, this guy. Every single time. Every time. Even on the basketball court. Dude, that was awful. What are you doing? He's trying to, whatever. Reverse psychology 101.
That's really, honestly, that would be so hard.
So
But there. Gdola shimush amilimuda. It's greater to use the Torah you learn than you learn it. Why else are we sitting here? To talk about what
I'm
works?
saying with the blue nigger.
Everything will be bleeding out
Okay.
there.
Here's another one that
That's the
Rabbi
biggest
Katz-
odds.
He also,
Oh, and I'm gonna be there.
We're doing it.
he also shared this.
Can I say one thing to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Will someone be my chavrusa in it? That
I'll
will
do it.
with me?
I'll do it with
He's
you.
in.
I'll do it with you.
Okay, I don't know about your contact. We have to give each other kisses.
No. Contacts. You can't message each other.
This is true Paris.
Right. It's not like middle of the night. How are you doing with this? I'm doing okay with it.
That was very good, actually. You just did that.
Hold on. No, but he's with you. No, but he's with you. Check in at 8 a.m. or check in at 9 a.m.
Or before the night before you go to sleep, before you go to
Good night.
Good night.
Right. Honey, who are you texting? Oh, it's like... Oh, you're not alone.
Okay, now alone. We're never alone, right? So we're in it.
It's such a deep
There's a
avoda.
context in this that Rabbi Katz also brought down about the word nisayon, and he was talking about the word nes. That has two meanings. One is a banner or a flag that the nisayon, the nes, can lift you up. It can lift you up, and once you get down that, then you have the other, which is the nes, the miracle.
Nachon.
So, and what you said was, I can't do that. So the nisayon is
Yes.
you start raising yourself up,
Yeah.
and then Hashem will create the nes, and you'll be able to go where you thought you couldn't go.
Amen.
So we were actually learning it in
Amen.
the brewer in the morning with
Will you
Charles.
say that?
And
Say what?
Yeah.
First thing I used to do is sit down and go to my phone.
The nes
Yeah.
is the raising up again,
And
then there's the nes.
what I did was okay, I'm not opening up my phone until after I say Birkat Torah.
Huh.
So at least
that.
I got that out of the way.
Okay, that's also B'china of 8.
Right.
That's a layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Kol hakavod. Okay, guys. Let's we have a few more minutes left. Let's see if we can finish this. This is this beautiful mimer. Perek Chamishi. Now this is now he's going to say, like, you see on the bottom it says Tochen HaPerek. What's the context of this perek? Hatzorich lehalbish es regesh hayisorus shebalev betoch kelim. The need to enclothe, to garment the emotion of the awakening that's happening in the heart into kelim. What happened right now is kelim, what you guys did right now. You took or you put it into kelim. That's why we're here. And in Lubavitch, they have it down so methodically beautiful. And well, it's all kelim. What's the kelim for the or? Belimud Torah ba'asiyas chesed. Look on top. Achod. Od achasim. What's the etza? Tzarich lashis etzas benafsho. Ma shenemar b'shvokim u'barachovos avaksha es sha'av nafshi Shlomo Melech says, I traveled the marketplaces and the streets looking for that which my soul loves. Ad shematzasi es sha'ava nafshi. Reb Shlomo would always say, you can hear him say, you see sometimes people, they're drunk, they're in the middle of the night, they're in a bar, and it looks like they're just drunk trying to have a good time. They're not, they're actually so lonely. And they're just looking for their neshama, they're looking for something, you know. They're looking, they're searching. It looks like they're not looking. They are looking. And then I find which my soul desires, which my heart loves, which my soul loves. I grab onto it, that which I finally found. Until I bring it in to the house of my mother, into the room of my parents. Okay, that's all from Shir HaShirim. Okay? Why what are you doing in the, what are the shvakim, what are the shuk in the rachov? What's the marketplace in the streets? Oh, that's where things got lost. So he told us last parak, where do you look for something? Where you lost it. Where did you lose it? In the shuk, in the marketplace, and in the street. What is the marketplace and the street in the context of this shir, of this mimer? All the things that asher lo la Hashem hema. All the thoughts and actions that it's not necessarily averas, it's just wasn't for Hashem. Is there an isser to walk to go to restaurants or go to street? Like, there's no isser. Is there? David Jerome was saying he was listening to the first Oros HaTshuva shir we did in the back of Kapot Marim. I don't know how many years ago it is already, Baruch Hashem, maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And apparently I said there that Carlos and Gabby's should become treif. You should take away the hechsher of Carlos and Gabby's. Because it's impossible, huh? Because it's impossible to say that a place like this, the Klipas Noga, is winning to the side of good. It's too... Do you guys know what Carlos and Gabby's is? It's too... What is it? What's the word? It's too... You know Carlos and Gabby. It's too...
It's too close to the...
Lola Hashem, hey, meaning it's too, what are the, Prost, I don't know what the right word is.
I was there one time and I got for dessert, a deep fried Oreo. Already that
I'm in the oven,
yeah,
right?
Deep fried Oreo.
So we're on the streets of Carlos, we're on those kind of places where there's a hechsher. Listen, when I first went back to LA after moving here, my friend said to me, listen, there's a new place that opened on Wilshire. I was like, well, La Cienega and Wilshire. I'm like, La Cienega and Wilshire? There's no community in La Cienega. It's like the middle of if you know LA, it's like, you have the Flint building on La Cienega and Wilshire. Larry, massive. That's what you have on La Cienega, right? Hamevi Yav, right? The opposite, right? So I'm thinking, what's the, they opened up this crazy new hot restaurant, okay? And all the hechshers are there, and it's LA. So who comes and welcomes you? A woman's she's barely wearing a thing. But it's kosher. It's kosher. The hechsher is there.
Interesting. This is why, I guess, the dots won't give hechshers on places, even to hotels, if they have to make swimming.
Listen, you have to.
Was that
Yesh inyan, right? But yesh inyan, it's like yesh inyan, whatever. We can go off. I don't want to go off on this, but basically, we're looking for the Aveda and places where Kiviyachol it was kosher to be there, but somehow because I was there and it didn't feel like Kedusha, I started saying a lot of things that wasn't necessarily Tuma, but it definitely wasn't Kedusha. See, I ate at that restaurant with them. I felt bad. They took me out, but I sat there, I ate there. And it was kosher, halachically. But my soul was Tuma. Right? Af gam im matzat aveda.
Hold on, so I'm sorry. So back to our original our learning. So is that a case where Shlomo needs to? I'm out of here. This isn't. I'm
where?
I'm like in a situation like that. You walk in. Oh, wait a second. This just feels off. I see already what's going on. See the way. This is what we spoke about. Like
it could be.
I'm out of here. This is my line.
Sounds like chutzah.
It's a strong.
What do you mean?
Does your soul feel okay?
Right.
Why can't you get in front of it? You go with them and you say, you know what, I'm going to try to lift them up.
Listen, okay, because they're, we're talking about big league tankers. I was at the time. I'm still a pitcher. Then I was 23. I was 24. Mashkazeh, you know.
Situation arises like that today. Do you leave or do you try to be mechazik them? That's I think what he's asking.
I would probably turn to my. I hope I would probably turn to my chevra. I was like, it's so sweet of you to bring me here. It's it's a little bit. It is a little bit. It's to me. I guess I'm just from Eretz Yisrael, more sensitive to these things. Let's go to a place where we don't have to go through this nisayon just by walking through the door. And then they'll say, but the big tzaddik of Grossman will walk into a discotheque. I'm like, you know what? Every door has their different way of approaching the klipa of the door. I don't know. Listen, b'shas ma'aseh, what do we know? I don't know. When push comes to, I hope we daven, we learn, we work on ourselves all the time, so that when those moments come, we have enough koch to listen to the P'tim Yisalev and act on it. Right, that was before. Nachon. That's what we got stuck in a good way. Let's continue. Ach afim gam im matzah aveda. You found what you were looking for, which is what? Hisarus alev, whatever that means. Hine lo yiskayim bo or Hashem bilti kelim. You don't have kelim. That light has nowhere to reside. You found the hisarus. Where are you going to put it? Kizeh gorem histalkus haor kanoda. Not just that. Not only do you have nowhere to put it, ze mistalek. That light, that awakening you had, as fast as it came down, it leaves even faster if it doesn't have a place to reside in. This hisarus to ask for rachmim, to have love. V'lachen, ha'etza lasos kelim la'or Hashem. What's the kli for the light of the feeling? Hem osios Torah. This is literally the letters of the Torah. There's nothing else. The learning. Ki beis imi. What does it mean when it says I have to bring it to my mother's house? Like Shlomo Melech says, zot Torah shebichsav, v'cheder horasi, zot Torah sheba'al peh. The room of my parents is the Torah sheba'al peh. Look at the perush on the bottom left. Hakelim le'or Hashem hem otiyot haTorah. V'zeu shemamshich bakasuv. Imi horasi, my mother, my parents, kai al osios Torah. They refer to the letters of the Torah, shel bichtav, v'shel Torah sheba'al peh, shehen kelim le'or Hashem. These are the vessels for the light of Hashem. Back on top, ukmo sheksiv ki Hashem elokecha eish ochlahi, because God, Hashem, your God, is a living, consuming fire. כשם שאי אפשר לאש להיאחז בלי פתילה או שום דבר הנאחז בו, כך אחזתי ולא ארפנו עד שהבאתיו. Look in the perush again over here, top right. מצד תכונה זו שבאור השם, regarding this aspect of the light of Hashem, שמצד עצמו היה מסתלק למעלה, that if it was just us, and we didn't have to be down here, all of our souls would choose to get out of here. It's crazy down here in this world. This world is crazy. Once you tasted the oraganas, you'd want to leave. You'd want to be out of here. And the nature is also to flick upwards, right? That's the nature of light, too. We need vessels so that the light that we feel has a kiyum down here in this world. Nimshal oro yisbarach le'esh. The light of Hashem is nimshal to fire. Fire needs a ptil, a wick. Why? So that it holds on to something. If there's no wick, how's there fire? What's the wick? It's the kli, the vessel. Like the Tanya says in Perek Yutet, the light of fire, in its nature, where does fire travel towards? Up, right? He's saying that's really what we are when we're on fire. Our nature is dafka just to go up, but if there's no kli, if there's no ptil, the fire will just leave us and not be anywhere. Now this is so gewalt. Before we said that Shoshana had to do with the red, the flower that turns from red to white. Now he's saying Shoshanim, the Zohar says, Shoshanim sheshone halachot. Haro'eh b'shoshanim. What does it mean to be shone halachot? To learn. Learning. Veshinantam shone. Shone means to learn. Avoda zo da'asiyas kelim al de'osiyas haTorah nirmaz gam b'kasav ani ledodi b'tevas haro'eh b'shoshanim. Like the Zohar says, shoshanim sheshonim halachot shu inyan Torah. This is what the Torah is all about, learning. V'lachen ksiv haro'eh. That's why it says God shepherds. Ki Yisrael mefarnesim lavim shvashamayim mipnei sha'idei esek haTorah shu ritzono yizbarach. By learning Torah, which is really Hashem's ratzon for us. Ruach aisi ruach. That means a spirit brings a spirit. Ve'amshich ruach lios shora u'mizgale bo bechinas pnimius ritzono yizbarach. What happens when a shepherd wants to give his flock food? What are you really causing the shepherd to feel? Kivyachol. When you're allowing your shepherd to feed you, what are you really causing at that moment? Right? What are you causing at that moment? I'm going to say it again.
You're exposing the shepherd.
You're exposing the shepherd. Yeah, hey, Jonah, come. You're exposing the shepherd. You're showing this is where I receive life from, right? You're showing this is where it happens. So when you allow, basically when you're eating from what the shepherd is giving, what he's saying over here in such a beautiful way is that you're causing the Shefa of Hashem to shine even brighter and clearer in the world. Kmo, I'm in the bottom left column, on the bold typing. Kmo she'al yedei achilas ha'adam mechaber nishmasa begufo. Like when a person eats, what is he basically doing? He's connecting his soul to his body. She'ispashtu bo kochos nishmasa be'archava. That you basically are spreading your koach of your neshama more wider to reach a wider area when you eat properly. And what are you basically giving? You're giving koach for your body. But you're not giving koach only for your body. You're giving koach to your soul to be mashpia in a larger part of yourself, if it's done properly. Kach kivyachol Yisrael mefarnesim lavim shbashamayim. The Torah b'mitzvos shem ritzono yizbarach ruach aisi ruach v'amshi ruach lios shora u'mizgala b'chinas ha'aras ratzon ha'elyon be'aras panim al yedei osios haTorah. What's the bracha? Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichoneka. Hashem, I tell my child, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichoneka. Hashem should make clear to you what He wants of you. Abba, how do I do that? Very simple, son. Very simple. Every time you learn Torah, every time you learn a halacha, which is the ratzon of Hashem, every time you learn a parsha, what are you creating inside of you? Space for the shepherd to be the shepherd. A kli for the light to have a makom in this world.
I don't know if I'm just free associating, but this is reminding me a lot, this parak of the Ramban's Hakdama to the Torah.
Umbracious, not
umbracious.
Yeah.
Umbracious, meaning where the Ramban talks about the idea that the whole otiyot and from Chazal. First of all, you have the whole. I don't know if it's the same Aish, but you have the whole black fire and the white fire. But there's also the idea that the whole otiyot of the Torah is basically the name of Hashem, and just the way that the Torah is constructed that's how we see it. Those are the words we read it, and that's just revealing it's giving you space to understand a certain sense of who God is. But in reality, you can rearrange the letters of the Torah to be
just to see Shem Hashem. Just to see Shem. I think it is.
I think it is also.
But that's the kli. The kli to see Shem Hashem in your life is by learning Shem Hashem that's woven into it.
And then you can unwind it however you want.
Nachon. Okay, we're finishing this. I'm sorry, Jonah. 2 minutes. We're finishing this. Gam al yedei mitzvahs tzedakah shu midas hachesed shu chitzonius ukli lebchinas haor ve'ava b'chinas pnimiusa. So this avoda of making a kli, what is another kli for light to reside in? What's another kli? There's learning. What's another kli? Tzedakah. If you look at the Tanya last week also, the Alter Rebbe's emphasis on the tzedakah. The tzedakah, giving the tzedakah, it definitely creates a kli for all the moments of feeling so high to actually have a makom in your life of a mishkan in it, right? Lebchinas haor ve'ava b'chinas pnimiyusa. Ukmoshe Kasuv. So we're just ending right now. Who's here? Come. Mamish, the last. Come. We're just ending right now. Chavra, just pay close attention. And I know we did this fast. It's all from Hashem. וכמו שכתוב, כי באור פניך נשאת לנו, השם אלוקינו, תורס חיים ואהבס חסד. פירוש, כי לאור פני השם, שהוא בחינס אור, יש שני כלים, שהם תורה וחסד. Again, look inside. How do we end Sim Shalom every Shmoneh? If you're Nusach Svard, if you're not Shalom Rav, Sim Shalom Tova Avracha, Chaim Chen V'Chesed V'Rachim Aleinu V'Koyis V'Nacham Brachim L'Avinu Kulanu Ke'echad B'Or Panecha. Ki B'Or Panecha, with the light of your Pnimius, what did you give us? Torah's Chaim, Ahavas Chesed. What's Torah's Chaim? Learning. That's the Kli for the Barcheinu Avinu. That's the Kli. And Ahavas Chesed. I love doing tzedakah. Why? Because that's another Kli for Yar Hashem Panav Elecha Bichuneka, for Hashem's light to shine into you, to do something with the feelings and the emotions that you have. Shehu Bechinas Ha'or. Yesh Shnei Kelim Shem Torah V'Chesed Kanal. And that's what the Alter Rebbe ends here. He says, I know we want so badly to feel all the time. But let me tell you, the Alter Rebbe says, if you just want to feel, just as fast as you felt something, it'll leave you. Well, our business in this world is kelim. And the kelim of learning and the kelim of tzedakah create space for the shepherd to be the shepherd. And when you enable the shepherd to feed you, what I asked you before, what you're really doing is you're enabling the shepherd to do what he wants to do more than anything, and which is what? To sustain you. You're enabling, this sounds insane, but it's the pshat. You're enabling Hashem to be Hashem. Your Bechira, you understand? You're enabling Hashem to actually be Hashem. Like I look at my kids sometimes like, why won't you just let me help you with this? There's stubbornness there, right? I know it's only one of my kids, but you guys, you don't know what I'm talking about. This Indian of stubbornness, right? Why won't you just let Abba help you? And what's happening inside of me? It's by me, it's like a little bit of gaiva. I want to be the one that helps, but really it's also a ratzon pnimi that I want to give my child, right? So this Indian of this kli that the Alter Rebbe is speaking about is the shleimus now of the pasuk. This is how we end. Ani ledodi, vedodi li, but this is the kicker now. Haro'eh b'shoshanim, one that shepherds me through the shoneh halachos, or the one that shepherds me through the aspect of eish. That when I take on down here the eish, and what a beautiful thing, this new chavrus that you have now, right now, right? Or whatever other form of eish, it does something incredible. And to finish this mimer, look what we get to do. We get to snip. We get to snip. Yeah, it's okay? Perfect. We get to snip. Chevra, let's sing a good nigun. What's his full name? Aryeh. Lion.
What's your name?
Aryeh Yehuda. Okay, let's sing him the nigun that we started with, okay? Ani ledai di vedai di di. 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 Ani ledai di
Ready for a haircut?
I love it. He's a little confused with this. Little slick, big hair Friday, so little hair, little teeny, and then later we do the big hair.
You have scissors. Okay.
You click this button, it takes a picture. So take the video and you just snap it. Come, let's get
Boy. This kid's coming for a sandwich. Give all the kavod to this kid, this baby. What mitzvah? What mitzvah is this reminiscent of?
Okay, sweetie?
Which mitzvah? Tveya ba'aretz. Okay. This is equivalent to one of the mitzvahs of Tveya ba'aretz, right? Which mitzvah? No, I'm looking at this one now, but Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, these beautiful payas, Chassidim that begin to grow payas from here towards their heart, to the kasher, the moach, to the leiv. If that's the moach and the leiv is kasher, Be'ez Hashem, everything else in life will just work.
Amen.
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 That's it. That's it. אלו דברים שאין להם שיר, ממש.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Toda raba.
No, some zeros and one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I see that.
My family like this really is a hero to me. So like that's music in the morning. It's not easy to get up every
No, it's easy. Then he calls it out to the sleep mode also very good. And I see it, okay, but then for it to be able to spread out, for it to still have that kind of cause, I find it's like
You want candy now?
my kavanah is like I
He
hope
gets more, he gets a whole ice cream store.
this happens to you, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hope there's a grandkid of mine that we're combinated like.
Oh yeah, come. Now we get to get
It's enough of an impression to get that.
Wow, you get a candy, yeah.
candy.
Yishakah.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you for recording.
It's
Amazing.
not the shrimp later. Does it have to be
Yes.
like, does it have to be like
This is a
closer
little
to.
Still.
Oh, people got